Y'all remember back in school when we had to do those fire drills and we didn't just do them once and they were done. We had to do them over and over again so that we all knew what to do to keep everybody safe, to keep things working, to make sure that we were prepared should an emergency, come up. And last I heard, nobody lives forever. It's just a question of when that time comes and what the circumstances are, right? Do you go out in all a blaze of glory, right? Quick and fast, or do you take the long road potentially? Either way, you're going to leave something behind, and so some things and some people more than likely behind as well. And so we've seen this, of course, in all of the years that we've been helping people. We've certainly had to say goodbye to folks over the years, and then the ones that are left behind, have to deal with the estate planning portions of what's going on there, but also all of those other, pieces of your financial life. And so, of course, dealing with the loss, the emotional toll of losing, a loved one, on top of now having to deal with, everything that is left behind. And so, lots of other ways that these things can occur, whether they're planned, like a divorce, or whether they're unplanned, through a medical event or just slow cognitive decline or something else, a sudden death or even a natural disaster. So what we want to kind of implore all of you to do is just think about that. If you are the one who kind of handles things in your family and you're kind of steering the ship, as I do in my family, probably no surprise, what would happen if you were either not here or just not, able to continue to perform those functions and duties to run your financial life. So, it's not something that we, want to think on with good emotions, but we also care for those, that would have to kind of pick up the pieces. So we're really trying to reframe this as something that you can do that is, an act of love for those family members. And so it really is, something that we believe is not bad. It's not pessimistic. It actually is something that you can do to help and be, protective of those folks. So in in our lives, right, we have lots of stuff, right? We have, as I mentioned before, all of these important documents, your wills and trusts and powers of attorneys and titles and deeds and policies and bank accounts and all the things that we, have that not only we touch on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, but that are there just in case, something happens. And like everybody, we have our bills, right? And so, when something ultimately happens, whether it's expected or unexpected, those things still have to be taken care of. And so, we're asking that you kind of think through what would happen, today, should something like that occur. Would that loved one or trusted family member, whoever you have appointed, be able to easily pick up the pieces and kind of step into your shoes? If the answer is yes, great. Gold star. If not, well, that's why we're here. That's why we're chatting about these kinds of things, right? So we want to look to, not the worst case scenario, but what kinds of things, are out there that need to be taken care of. Do you have, those things kind of centralized anywhere and available so that someone knows kind of what to do and when? Do things get paid monthly? Do they get paid quarterly? Do they get paid once a year? Those kinds of things. How do we get into all of these various accounts, right? Back in the day, it was, sitting at the kitchen table for hours, getting all those bills paid and writing checks and shipping them out in the snail mail. And nowadays, right, everything is somewhat or mostly digital. And if you're like me, a couple of years ago, I had a place where I was keeping all of my passwords. I thought I was doing a great job because I had it in an Excel spreadsheet, right? I'm a spreadsheet guy, so that really worked out pretty well. And then we had an IT audit here, and they said, well, not bad, but probably could be a lot better because not all your passwords should be password. Which still continues to be the number one password that people use. So now there are these password protectors or aggregators out there. I use that first one called LastPass. It's been a game changer for me. You don't have to have the notebook anymore. You don't have to have the Excel spreadsheet. This thing plugs into all your devices, your browser, your phone, and it will come up with strong passwords for you. It will keep them. You only need one password now to get into it. It's very safe and secure, of course. We're worried about that. And you can even grant emergency access to people. So in a case like this, something happens to me, my spouse can get into that vault and can now get into everything that we have in our digital life that I have put in there. Including a lot of these other things like policies for insurance and estate planning documents. They're really pretty robust nowadays. So again, I know that now if something were to happen to me, I have that peace of mind that my spouse would be able to pick up the pieces. But that's not all, right? Being aware of it is one thing, implementing it is another, practicing it is certainly, a very important aspect of this as well. And so that's where we get here to the last piece, right? The acting out or the practicing of the financial fire drill. And so again, unfortunately, this has come about through people who have had to go through this. We had that happen in my family a few years ago where we had a loved one pass away. He was responsible for all of the financial life. And unfortunately, the spouse really didn't have much of a clue as to what to do going forward. It was very, very stressful in a time where you're already, dealing with the emotional toll of a loss. And so that really hit home for me. And when I started talking about these things, and now, I have had my spouse go through a couple of times now and say, hey, good news is I'm still here, so I can help you through this. If, something unexpected were to happen to me, she can kind of pick up the pieces and run with it, which is great. I'm here to help, which we did find that there were some things that I needed some clarification on, to provide her with to make sure that you can get into everything and you know where things are, and you can really kind of steer the ship without me being there.